shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your number one source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
One more day feeling like summer, but this front will bring rain and storms tomorrow and then a fall feel by the end of the week.
AI in the classroom. Which school leaders are getting closer to firming up a policy? What parameters are being considered? And planes grounded. The FAA delaying flights because it needs more air traffic controllers. How airports are beginning to feel the ripple effect of the government shutdown. Good morning, everyone. It is Tuesday morning, and we're glad you're up with us at 4:30. If you weren't, it'd be awfully lonely here. So it's nice to have some company on the other side of the screen. Of course, Elizabeth Gardner is also here with me in the studio, and we just can't stop talking about this beautiful supermoon.
Oh, yeah. So you can't really see it in this shot, but you can see the effects of it. So it's lighting up the clouds. Renee was talking about that coming in to work this morning. And once we got right here, we had a break in the clouds. You could see the moon really pretty. I've got a really nice photo that one of you lovely viewers sent us, and I'm going to show you in just a few minutes. But anyway, this is Lake Gaston, and that moon is sort of lighting up the tops of the clouds, making for a pretty neat scene there. 64 is our temperature. Our dew point is 62. So, we're sort of in the moderate range in terms of temperature and dew point. It is 59 in Roxborough, 63 in Fayetteville, 56 in Rocky Mount, 58 in Goldsboro. Our temperature, much like yesterday, will make it into the 80s, maybe a couple of degrees warmer than yesterday, looking at a high of 85 this afternoon. Now, tomorrow we'll be dealing with rain. I'm going to be tracking that front as it comes our way. We'll talk about the timeline for when you could see tomorrow's showers and storms coming up.
Elizabeth, thanks. Today, Wake County school leaders will meet to discuss the AI policy in your child's school. They are getting closer to solidifying ways to regulate student use. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey is live at Wake School headquarters in Cary this morning. And Kelsey, this is the second time that Amazon will be presenting.
Yes, Renee, it is. Today, Wake school leaders will be meeting about creating an AI policy for your child's school, and they'll be brainstorming here at the board headquarters a little bit later today to figure out some new guidelines. So this is the second time that school leaders will meet with Amazon about AI. A company representative is coming back to share how AI can help schools work more efficiently. Wake County Schools already encourages the use of AI, but there just is not an official policy on it yet. WRAL education insider Emily Walkenhorst explains how some parameters are already in place.
One of those parameters is basically encouraging the use of Google's Gemini over ChatGPT. The district actually has an agreement with Google for student data privacy.
Now, several other school districts in our area already have AI policies on the books, so we'll be sure to explain what exactly those look like coming up in the next half hour. You can follow our coverage of today's meeting for Wake County schools in the education section of WRAL.com. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News. I'm in Cary.
Earlier this month, WRAL's Lena Tillett went into 2 Wake County schools to see how some teachers are already using AI in their classrooms. They were navigating how to use the tech safely and how to make sure AI is not replacing learning. You can find that story on WRAL.com. Legal battles erupt over the White House's moves to deploy hundreds of federal troops to Chicago. Illinois' Democratic leaders are now in court trying to stop it, calling the move unnecessary and dangerous. This comes as new video shows a black SUV ramming into ICE agents. Authorities are offering a $50,000 reward for the driver. And prosecutors charged an alleged gang member they say was part of a murder-for-hire plot to kill a top immigration officer. President Trump says he'd use the Insurrection Act if needed as protests continue to grow. 3 people are in critical condition after a medical helicopter crashed on a California highway. This happened just after 7 last night. Authorities say the 3 people injured in the crash were all on board the helicopter. There was no patient on board, but there was a pilot, nurse, and paramedic. Fire officials say bystanders helped to free one of the injured from the wreckage.
There was one victim that was trapped underneath the helicopter. We only had one engine on scene at that point. Others were trying to make access to the scene. That one person that was trapped, the captain immediately sequestered the help of just civilians that were standing around. They were able to lift part of that helicopter out and get that victim out so we could get them loaded into the back of an ambulance and transported off scene.
Officials say the good news is the helicopter did not catch fire. A jet fuel blaze on a freeway with no hydrants would have been intense and hard to control. Tonight, law enforcement officers across the Triangle will participate in National Night Out. Ali Calabar is live in Durham with a preview and the backstory of a mother who started this. Ali.
Renee, it was an unsettling reality for Lashanae Lyons when she had to call Durham police to investigate her 4-year-old son's bedroom. This is a photo of what she found, a bullet, yes, in her son's bedroom. You might remember this story. Lyons told us on July 3rd she thought she heard fireworks outside until the next morning she found a bullet hole in her son's ceiling. Her goal after that, prevent it from happening again. Police have responded to 401 shots fired through September 27th in Durham. Raleigh has released crime statistics through the end of second quarter of the year. Police there have responded to 222 aggravated assaults involving firearms. Now, Lyons says tonight's National Night Out in Durham will be about stopping all careless gunfire.
Celebrate safely. Don't shoot in the air, because what goes up, it must come down. And, it could come down and kill someone, an innocent person. And, it should always be, life over careless gunfire.
And life over careless gunfire, that's the name. That's what they're calling her National Night Out that she's organizing. It's going to be at Longmeadow Park Baseball Field. It is from 6 to 8 p.m. Reporting live in Durham, Ali Calabar, WRAL News.
Some residents are fighting back against the upcoming Airport Boulevard expansion project in Morrisville. This is scheduled to begin in February and will expand the street and widen it by 2 lanes. Some people have signed an online petition to stop the project. They worry about the risks to children, families, and wildlife. Morrisville Town Manager Brandon Zudema tells WRAL the project has been a long time coming, but was put on hold by the COVID pandemic.
There was a virtual session that was held back in April of 2021 at the time that this was thought to be a little closer to construction. But of course, COVID impacted that, particularly with budgets and other things. And then now it is moving forward.
The project is scheduled to be complete by 2028. You can learn more about the project and the efforts to stop it on WRAL.com. New charges against former NFL quarterback and Fox Sports analyst Mark Sanchez. Indiana police are now adding a felony count accusing him of assaulting a 69-year-old delivery driver while intoxicated. New video obtained by the New York Post shows Sanchez bloody and appearing to stumble in the moments after the fight early Saturday morning. Prosecutors say both men were hurt in the fight and taken to the hospital.
We are literally talking about people fighting over a parking space or a dispute about where people are parking, and it resulted in someone receiving just incredibly significant injuries.
Sanchez has not entered a plea. He faces up to 6 years in prison if convicted. Investigators say there is no sign the fire that destroyed the home of a South Carolina judge was set on purpose. The fire Saturday night reduced the home of Judge Diane Goodstein to charred rubble. 3 people escaped by jumping from a window. 1 person was airlifted to the hospital. Judge Goodstein recently made headlines for a ruling that blocked South Carolina from sharing voter data with the Justice Department. Tomorrow, Dare County will begin cleaning up debris after 9 homes collapsed into the ocean on the Outer Banks. It will continue throughout the rest of the week if needed. Crews are trying to speed up the cleanup process before this weekend's wet weather. Happening today, the Public Health Department in Durham is spraying several areas after confirmation of West Nile virus in the area. The Trinity Park neighborhood, Stadium Heights, Colonial Village, Duke Park, and Old North Durham will be sprayed. Old West Durham, Watts Hospital, and Hillendale areas will also be targeted. If you see crews spraying the area, please try to stay indoors. Fire officials are teaming up today for a live burn demonstration showing how quickly lithium-ion batteries can catch fire if damaged or overheated. It's part of Fire Prevention Week's theme, Charge into Fire Safety. The event starts at 10 a.m. at Wilson Fire and Rescue Services on Pine Street in Wilson. The city of Raleigh discussed plans to expand bus rapid transit routes. Planners held an open house last night at the 5 Point Center on Noble Road. They are working on the downtown to midtown route. It will connect downtown Raleigh with Wake Med and New Hope Road. Many people were excited about the new project.
It's important because having express bus service would actually enable people to get many places quicker.
Construction on the first phase is now underway. When the BRT line is finished, New Bern Avenue will have 10 stations and more than 3 miles of bus-only lanes. Flights delayed. The FAA is struggling to get planes in the air. Why there is a need for air traffic controllers amid the government shutdown. And spooky spending. People are expected to pay more for Halloween this year. The projected cost of the costume. And it's going to be another warm day. Here is a live look at the General Assembly building in Raleigh. Ahead, meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner tracks the next weather maker that brings us a chance for some midweek rain.
From the WRAL Severe Weather Center, North Carolina's most experienced team of meteorologists.
It is 4:44 and we take a look outside. We're seeing a mix of clear skies and clouds this morning. If you can catch it, there's a beautiful full moon out there right now. It is 56 in Wilson, 64 in Durham, and 63 in Fayetteville. So it feels comfortable out there. Our humidity is on the moderate side. It's not especially refreshing, but it's not, up high like it was, over the weekend. Beautiful day for today at lunchtime, 79. So a little bit on the warm side, but it'll be nice out there. We'll see partly cloudy skies at noon. Tomorrow, we'll likely be seeing some rain at noon, and I'm going to walk you through the front that will bring us that coming up in just a few minutes. At the bus stop this morning, temperatures are in the low 60s, so the kids may or may not need a light jacket. It'll be warm this afternoon, so shorts and T-shirts will feel nice with those highs in the mid-80s.
Thanks, Elizabeth. 6 days into the government shutdown and the real-world impacts are growing. Amy Kiley reports on how it's starting to hurt air travel.
This is having great impact, great concern, great stress.
The FAA says it's been delaying flights due to air traffic controller shortages. The transportation secretary blames the government shutdown. He says many controllers are calling out sick since they are no longer getting paid.
I want to see your flight not be delayed. I don't want you canceled, but our priorities are safety.
An FAA operations plan says at least a dozen air traffic control facilities braced for shortages last night. The agency reports initial delays in Denver, Newark, and Burbank. Officials say the Burbank tower outright closed, forcing pilots to coordinate with each other.
The very same thing ended the 35-day government shutdown back in 2019, and controllers calling out sick led to ground stops and delays at some of the country's busiest airports. And when that happened, lawmakers reached a deal pretty quickly.
This time around, a deal doesn't appear to be in sight.
There's nothing to negotiate, just reopen the government.
Republicans say they won't negotiate with Democrats until after the government reopens. Democrats say that order of events doesn't work. They want to address health care costs in the very funding bill that would end the shutdown.
Both House and Senate Democrats are clear. We'll sit down anytime, any place with anyone from your administration, including the president, to get a resolution here.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
President Donald Trump appeared to give contradictory statements about whether negotiations were happening. Now, he told reporters yesterday he's willing to make a health care deal and was in talks with Democrats. Democratic congressional leaders have said they've heard of no such talks, but would welcome them. Trump then posted on social media that he would not negotiate with Democrats until the government reopened. President Trump says new tariffs are on the way. He announced plans to levy a 25% tariff on all foreign-made medium and heavy-duty trucks. It is slated to start November 1st. The move could impact relations with Mexico, Canada, Japan, Germany, and Finland, the 5 countries from which the U.S. imports most trucks of that size. More than 70% of all domestic freight is moved by trucking. Another tariff could hit Americans in the kitchen. Imports of Italian pasta will now face an extra 91% tax. That's on top of the 15% tariff on all Italian goods, more than doubling the price. European leaders are pushing back, calling this a needless escalation. Last year, the U.S. imported more than $800 million worth of pasta from Italy. We love our pasta here. Well, you may be spending more money on spooky festivities this year. The National Retail Federation projects Halloween spending to reach a record of $13.1 billion this year. Despite people's concerns over higher costs for costumes and candy, the survey shows many people will still celebrate the holiday. Candy sales are expected to reach $4.3 billion. Costume spending may reach upwards of $4.3 billion. Look up. The full harvest moon lights up the sky overnight. It's so cool because with the clouds out there, too, it also is illuminating the clouds. It is the first of 3 back-to-back supermoons this year. A supermoon happens when the moon reaches its nearest point to Earth, making it look larger and fuller. And October's full moon is called the harvest moon because it's the full moon closest to the first day of fall. Historically, its bright light helped farmers finish their harvest for the year. And it really is lovely out there. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center will look at some of the clouds as well that's being illuminated by that supermoon.
As we get through the morning, so it's 4:49 right now. As we get closer to 6 o'clock, we'll end up seeing the moon drop down, of course, a little bit lower just before it sets, and we'll be able to see it on a lot of our cameras. But right now, it's still up pretty high, and of course, it's shining on the tops of the clouds here at Lake Gaston, making for a really neat view there. 64 degrees right now in the Triangle, so it's nice and mild. Our dew point 62, so that's kind of a middle of the road, kind of moderate dew point. This is where clouds are right now. Definitely seeing some of those in western Wake County and from the Triangle area northward up toward Virginia. Not as much cloud cover as you head south, so depending on where you are, you may have a better view of the moon. As a matter of fact, this beautiful view of the moon came from Goldsboro from Gwen Price. Thank you for sending us that. Looking absolutely gorgeous. If you have a photo to send us of anything, go to WRAL.com/reportit. Our cloud cover, for the most part, will be on the milder side or moderate side this morning. Expect maybe 10 to 25% of the sky covered. But by later this afternoon, we're going to be closer to, say, 50 to almost 60% of the sky covered with clouds as we see our next front moving in. And that's going to bring us some rain for tomorrow. In the meantime, temperatures range from mid-50s in Rocky Mount to mid-60s in the Triangle. Around the Triangle, looking at 63 in Apex, 60 in Holly Springs, and 63 in Nightdale. Highs this afternoon, warm. Expect mid to even upper 80s there in Fayetteville, looking at 87. All this warm air is about to move on out. Our cold front passes tomorrow, bringing us a chance of rain. And then behind it, Thursday and Friday, you see those blue shaded areas. That's going to be the much cooler air that moves on in. The temperatures will be chilly Thursday and Friday in the morning, but tomorrow is going to be mild at 67 with that rain coming in. And then highs only in the 60s Thursday, Friday, and Saturday after 85 for it today. Today, we'll see increasing clouds. And of course, we do have that potential for some showers and thunderstorms. We're going to walk through Futurecast for you coming up in just a little bit, but let's jump on out to the 7-day forecast. Not only do we have the potential for rain tomorrow, but the weekend as well. I'll outline that coming up.
Thanks, Elizabeth. Downey wrote that, an upcoming documentary following Saturday Night Live's longest running writer. His story and more entertainment news ahead. Plus, celebrating strong girls, a look at the new Barbies inspired by women rugby. How Mattel changed the dolls to represent the players. Right now, we're following breaking news out of Southeast Raleigh. The WRAL Breaking News Tracker is there live on the scene of a house fire on Evers Drive. And as we look at that home, you can see the siding on the house has melted and there's damage to the roof. It looks like the fire is out there. We are working to discover what happened here, if anyone was home at the time, if anyone was injured. We will certainly bring you updates as we learn them. An iconic band that supposedly played their final show a decade ago is back. David Daniel has that and more in today's Hollywood Minute.
We have to announce that we've made a decision to go back on tour.
Hi, we're going back on tour.
Rush returns to the road. Geddy Lee and Alex Lifeson say the tour will be a celebration of their music and legacy and the life of drummer and lyricist Neil Peart, who died in 2020. Annika Niles will fill in for Peart behind the drums. The tour begins next June at the Kia Forum in Los Angeles, where Rush played its last gig in 2015.
You want one of these? This ought to do. Let's get 'em!
Two iconic westerns are marking anniversaries. Silverado, starring Kevin Kline, Scott Glenn, Kevin Costner, and Danny Glover, is 40 years old. And The Quick and the Dead, starring Sharon Stone, Gene Hackman, and Leonardo DiCaprio, is 30 years old. Both are out today in anniversary limited edition 4K Ultra HD steelbooks.
Governor Bush, strategery.
Not gonna do it.
Jim Downey went from the youngest writer at Saturday Night Live to the show's longest-running writer. In between, he wrote many of SNL's classic sketches and won 5 Emmy Awards. Downey wrote that about his influence on the show, features dozens of SNL cast members and writers. The doc debuts October 17th on Peacock. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
Mattel is releasing 4 new Barbies inspired by rugby stars ahead of International Day of the Girl. The new dolls are England's Ellie Kildani, New Zealand's Portia Woodman-Wycliffe, France's Nasira Condi, and U.S. Olympic medalist Ilona Mayer. Only Mayer's doll will be for sale next year. The company created a new, more athletic body sculpt to fit her. Mattel says it celebrates strength. International Day of the Girl is Saturday, October 11th. AI in classrooms. Today, Wake school leaders meet the new ideas on how artificial intelligence could shape learning. Plus, Hoop Talk. The ACC tip-off is underway this week in Charlotte. How teams across the Triangle are preparing ahead of the season. And ahead of the holidays, it's time to start thinking about your shopping list. 5 on Your Side breaks down some of the best deals that you can find right now.